Welcome, friends. This is Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric.
And I'm David.
And today we are celebrating episode number 100 for Under the Arch Sports. Dave, that's kind of wild. 100 episodes.
Done so many, but then again, we are covering what, 4 teams?
It's crazy. I mean, we've picked up SLU midway through. Not a whole lot going on with Battlehawks and the soccer team, but there will be. Today, we are going to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals and how things are progressing in spring training. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. So, David, the first thing to look at for the Cardinals is the outfield. Very early on, Harrison Bader was announced that as being locked in as the center fielder, which was interesting. Since then, Bader has been about what you'd expect out of him. Tyler O'Neill, however, has been tearing it up. He's batting .389, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, on base percentage of .421, slugging .778, and an OPS of .1199. He's tearing it up.
Yeah, he's pretty much carrying the ball club in their OPS for sure. Another player to look at in our outfield who's hitting quite well, I wouldn't say he's tearing it up, but he's playing well, is Lane Thomas, batting at .294.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think a lot of people are assuming that Dylan Carlson is going to have right field and Bader's going to have center. And it's going to be between Lane Thomas and O'Neill for that left field spot. And if you're going to have a competition, it's good to have it between 2 guys who are both playing well. But, I guess Bader's locked in at center, but how long of a leash do you think he'll have if O'Neill and Thomas are both playing well and Bader does his Bader things, batting .230 and swinging at every slider low and away ever thrown?
Well, and I agree. And the other note you might want to mention is Dylan Carlson's only batting .222, not much better than Bader. So if you look at that and you play the hot hand, you might see Dylan Carlson finding himself on the bench too. So it's going to be real interesting to see how the outfield plays out.
Yeah, I guess my biggest takeaway is I don't understand why Mike Schultz went out of his way to lock Harrison Bader into center field. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, given the fact that he's an offensive liability.
Yeah, my only thought is this is his last chance to maybe hold his position as a starter, and they're giving him the benefit of the doubt because of his defense. If I were the one managing the lineup, though, I would go with your best offense, and I'd have Thomas and Carlson out there.
Yeah.
With Bader as a defensive backup later in the game, possibly.
Yeah. Your video froze up for a second there, but I think you said O'Neill and then your hot hands. But yeah. Anyway, one guy who does not have the hot hand right now is Matt Carpenter.
Who didn't see that coming?
I mean, he's 0 for the spring. He's 0 for 15 with 7 strikeouts, which, I mean, no one was expecting him to do awesome. No one was expecting 300 or anything, but that's garbage. Now, I mean,
can I mention half of those strikeouts are probably him just looking at the ball going by?
Yeah. Now, massive caveat. It is spring. He's just tinkering with something, trying to alter his swing or making a point to be more patient. Who knows? But either way, I think even if you are tinkering, you expect a guy to at least get a base hit here and there. You don't expect 0 for 15 with half your appearances being a strikeout. It's terrible.
Well, and think about this. You have Nolan Arenado at third now, Paul Goldschmidt at first, and Paul DeYoung at shortstop. He's fighting for a position to play, period. he's
He
going
ain't
to
fighting
find
very well.
Yeah, he's going to find himself on the bench because you have Tommy Edman batting .412 right now and probably has himself the leadoff position locked up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Edman was always going to win the leadoff job and the second base job if nothing unforeseen happened. But Edman has done nothing to hurt his cause, batting .412. That's great. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be any drama there. He's going to be batting second, or batting leadoff, playing second rather. Now, looking at the pitching staff, things are getting real dicey real fast. Jack Flaherty looking rather pedestrian. Wainwright's doing pretty well. Carlos Martinez up and down. Miles Michaelis had, got shut down 7 to 10 days. That was announced, 2-3 days ago. So he's probably got another week at least before he throws again at all. And right before we started filming this, MLB.com put out a report saying that Kwang Hyun Kim had through a bullpen session and had some back stiffness. He is shut down. And they don't seem to think it's like really severe, but David, Miles Michaelis out for who knows long now. KK is shelved for at least a little while. How concerned are you about the pitching staff?
I'm starting to get there. Probably my biggest concern is now you're looking at putting Carlos Martinez in a rotation, and he has not looked good at all. I know Flaherty's had some issues, but at the same time, it's spring training. They're loosening up their arms, and they're working on different pitches. So you expect that they're not going to be what they are once the season starts. Scary part.
Clarifying. I was sorry to interrupt, but Flaherty, what he's capable of, right? And he's been okay. Carlos Martinez has been the same as he's been for the last while, which is one inning, 10 pitches, 1, 2, 3 inning. The next one, it takes 35 pitches to get 2 outs.
Like at this point, I trust him more in the bullpen than I do as a starter.
Yeah.
The interesting, maybe scary or good thing, I don't know how to take it really this at all, is Wainwright's been your best pitcher.
Yeah. The only question for Waino, I think, is durability. And I'm inclined to think he'll be okay, given the way he's reinvented himself. He knows he can't overpower anybody. So he's become that crafty veteran who just throws junk up there. And he still has the filthiest curveball.
He reminds me of Greg Maddux at the end of his career, where he didn't have the speed, but he could hit all the corners and just frustrate batters.
Yeah. It's interesting looking at what the rotation is going to look like, given Miles Michaelis not being there, KK maybe not being there. You've got Waino locked up. You've got Flaherty locked up. I mean,
possibly Carlos.
I think Carlos is all but locked in. I do, and that terrifies me. And then you're probably looking at, let's say KK can't go. You're looking at what? Ponce de Leon or John Gant.
And I don't have a problem with either one of them. Both have good upside, but the consistency isn't necessarily there for either one of them. I think Ponce has more of an upside just with his stuff. He has more power behind it. Uh-huh. However, he tends to throw 100, 110 pitches within 4 innings.
Yeah.
So he's not a lot. He doesn't go deep into games.
Right.
The other one you might mention, however, it's not going to happen this year, is Alex Reyes, because I know people are going to ask. The Cardinals have flat out said they're not going to let him go more than 100 innings this year, which tells me he's not going to be in the starting rotation at all.
No chance. I mean, yeah, a starter, if a starter is going to get 30 starts and be halfway productive, they're going to be throwing 200, 250 innings. So no, Alex Reyes is not going to be a starter. I think you should look for Reyes. Ideally, maybe your 8th inning guy leading to Jordan Hicks.
Well, and honestly, because they eventually want him to be a starter, I could see him being more of a long reliever, going out for 2 or 3 innings at a time, and then like maybe showing up once or twice a week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on how the season goes and how other guys are going. I think he's talented enough. You don't want to do that. That's my opinion on as far as him being a long relief guy. I think he's too talented to be put in that position. I want him as a setup guy.
Well, it depends on how you want to use him. He could even be the setup guy, just come in for the 7th and 8th inning.
Well, yeah, you could. Yeah, if you could do that, have him go twice a week. Yeah. I mean, that's partially dependent on the Cardinals winning enough games for that to happen, and the wins being spaced out properly and all that. But that's another alternative, you know.
Or with Jordan Hicks, you could give Jordan Hicks a rest and use him as a closer every once in a while too.
I mean, the way he finished 2020, that definitely is a possibility for Alex Reyes. And as the spring is going, David, has your opinion on the Cardinals changed at all looking to the regular season?
Not particularly, and mainly it's because I feel like even just looking at the stats as they are right now, I have to see more.
Yeah.
They haven't played a whole lot of games, so I still don't know how it's going to shape up in that matter. I mean, so far we pretty much got maybe the injuries in the starting rotation. That's a little bit concerning, and maybe the Cardinals even look at signing someone to fill in while those guys are recovering from their injuries. But overall, I think we're still on pace for around 90, 93 wins.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with it's too early to jump to conclusions. I think having concerns about the starting rotation, I think that's justified. I think being wary of, oh my gosh, this is a rotation that was trying to figure out the 5th spot already, and now 2 of the 4 that you had are hurt and may not be ready. That's concerning to me. It may end up being fine, but yeah, that's something I'm definitely keeping an eye on. Offensively, like you said, guys are tinkering. Carpenter, definitely a point to keep an eye on, but otherwise, you got to see more. Some of the pitchers are guys who are, with the big club for the first and only time ever, just trying to get an audition. Maybe the batters may not have a clue of what kind of stuff they've got. It's not the same level of familiarity as, playing the Cubs for the 15th time in the season or something like that. It's totally different.
Or the batters might be looking at trying to hit the other way every time or something like that.
Exactly.
It's more about getting their timing down. I think the biggest concern I would have is our OPS is dead last in the league. And again, it's spring training, so I expect that to change, but maybe something to keep an eye on as the games go forward. You'd like to see them pick it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we have for Under the Arch Sports today. Thank you for watching, and keep in touch as we have more updates throughout the year.
100 episodes. Woo!